This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
The GSMC Sports Podcast. This episode is brought to you by AdamandEve.com. If you go to AdamandEve.com and type in the promo code SPORT, you'll get 50% off just about any item. Once again, I'm your host, Jesse Tapia, and to start off today's show, we're going to talk about Game 6 of the World Series, and we're going to preview Game 7. So yesterday, Game 6 was pretty much, it was a do or die for the Dodgers. They really needed to pull that one out, obviously, because if they didn't, then Houston would have been world champions. And Dodgers got the job done. Rich Hill only went 4.2 innings that game, and It was kind of people on Twitter and all over social media, and even myself were kind of questioning Dave Roberts' decision to pull him so early. I know the bases were loaded, but there were 2 outs, and Rich Hill, after when he was pulled, didn't look too happy. He was throwing the water coolers around, all those cups around there. So yeah, he wasn't too happy about it. But I mean, I guess that's why people are on social media, and I'm out here talking about the game rather than managing it. Dave Roberts knows what he's doing, so he got the job done. And he managed the bullpen actually pretty well yesterday. He had Rich Hill go, and then he had Brandon Morrow come in for an inning. And Morrow did really well. He's been kind of shaky so far this season. But like I said, yeah, he did really well. In the Game 6, did his job. And then they had Tony Watson come in. He only pitched for 1 out, but he got the out that he needed. Maeda came in, pitched an inning, did well. And then Kenley Jansen, this is the 3rd time that he's ever, in his career, that he's ever tried getting 6-out save, and he did that. He was lights out. I believe he threw 19 pitches and 18 of them were strikes, and that's like just perfect efficiency right there. You can't really ask for anything else. As for the score, like how's the game played out and whatnot, George Springer hit a home run in the 3rd, which put the Astros up 1-0. Later on in the game, I think it was the bottom of the 6th. Yeah, Chris Taylor hit a RBI double, and then Corey Seager hit a sac fly, which made it 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th, and then bottom of the 7th comes, and Jock Peterson has finally woke up so far in this World Series. He hit a home run, which made it 3-1 LA, and then, like I said, just LA's bullpen played really well yesterday. Pitched really well, I should say. Yeah, they were just lights out throughout the game, and I was kind of not shocked, but just kind of surprised because these bullpens for both teams. But I'm really going to talk about the Dodgers right here first. But yeah, the bullpen for the Dodgers has really just been. They've been in every game pretty much. They've been using a majority of their pitchers every game, except for Game 1 where Kershaw was lights out. Yeah, but in Game 2, yeah, they had to use a lot of their bullpen, and then Yu Darvish had his shortest start of his career in Game 3, so that was another game where they had to stretch out the bullpen. And like I said, yeah, just throughout up until probably Game 6. They really didn't have to use too many pitchers. I mean, I know they still used about 4 pitchers from the bullpen in this game, or actually 5. Yeah, 5 pitchers. No, 4 pitchers. I'm sorry. Yeah, 4 pitchers from the bullpen in that game. But they all, like I said, they all did their job. Didn't give up too many hits at all, and didn't give up any runs. So it's all you can really ask for. As for the Astros, Justin Verlander, he pitched pretty well up until the 6th inning. He went 6 full innings and he gave up those 2 runs. So I mean, that's pretty much all you could ask for a starting pitcher like him. 2 runs is still a really good outing from Verlander, but it's just the Astros really couldn't score runs at all, and that was just their problem. It's such as Game 1. I believe they only scored once, Game 1, 2, and I think it was the same score actually. It was 3-1, yeah, I believe. And it's just. Yeah, just the Astros couldn't wake the bats up. They had 6 hits and the Dodgers had 5, but I mean, Dodgers did more with what they had and the Astros simply didn't. So it's going to be interesting to see how Game 7 plays out. I want to talk about the managers first. I feel like I said, I'm out here talking about it, so what do I know? But I feel like the managers have sort of been like over managing a little bit. I mean, of course, it's paid off for both as the series went on. That's why we're in a Game 7 now. But I feel like these managers just need to not overthink it too much. And I feel like today is going to be a game where Wednesday night is going to be a game where Yu Darvish is just going to have to he's going to have to step up his game big time because, like I said, in Game 3, he had the shortest outing of his career, and Dodgers can't afford that tonight. They need him to go at least a solid 5 innings and let it go from there. And I believe Dave Roberts said that Kershaw's going to be available in the bullpen, and it's Game 7, so there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be out there. And the last game he pitched, I believe, was it Game 5 or Game 4? I can't remember exactly, but he came out and he was doing well up until the 4th inning, and he just kept giving up hits and home runs and just gave up the lead to the Astros. So we'll see how he is. He's really shaky in the postseason. Like I've said before, he's a great pitcher in the regular season. But when it comes to the postseason, I'm not really sure. Like, he just doesn't have that same fire that you see in the regular season. I mean, he'll start out well and whatnot, but then there's just going to be that one inning always where Kershaw just falls off, and then that's it. And you're like, oh, wow, it's the old Kershaw again. So if he comes out here again, it's going to be really interesting to see what Kershaw we get today. And like I said, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be out there pitching. So we'll see how that goes. And Dallas Keuchel's also going to be available in the bullpen, and he's been honestly really shaky too this World Series, more than Kershaw actually. When in Game 1 he only gave up 3 runs in Game 1. Ugh. Yeah, he only gave up 3 runs in Game 1, but he left both pitches high, and they were both destroyed out of the park. And when he came back and pitched in his next start, he doesn't seem to really have that fire. Like I said, same with Kershaw. He just doesn't have that fire that you usually see with him during the regular season. And it was him being the Houston's ace. Justin Verlander has really had to become the ace of this team so far in the postseason, and Dallas Keuchel really just hasn't stepped up his game at all. So it's going to be interesting to see if we see Keuchel. I think we will too, but it's going to be up to AJ Hinch. This is pretty much this is do or die time for both teams. Dodgers haven't won a World Series since 1989, and the Astros I don't think have ever won a World Series, so it's going to be interesting to see. But other than that, it's been a really fun World Series to watch. Game 1 was more of a pitcher's duel, and then Game 2 was let me actually check these stats. But yeah, Game 1 was a real nice pitcher's duel. I enjoy watching those a lot because it's just, I feel like it's just something about baseball where the pitchers dominate, and it's just really fun to watch for me. But yeah, so in Game 1, Dodgers won 3-1. Then Game 2, the Astros won that game 7-6, and that's when George Springer hit a home run in the 11th and put him up in the lead, and Dodgers really couldn't come back in the bottom of the 11th and score. So yeah, Astros won that one 7-6. Game 3 comes, and the Astros the Houston Stadium is rocking. The fans are out there just going crazy, and it was just an incredible atmosphere for them. And that was the game where Yu Darvish had his worst outing ever in his professional career as far as MLB goes. He had his shortest outing. Yeah, he didn't even make it past 2 innings, and he gave up 4 runs on 6 hits and really just struggled to find the strike zone. He threw 49 pitches, only 31 of them were strikes. And then other than that, the rest of the bullpen for that game did really well. There were no earned runs given up, and the most that a pitcher gave up in that game as far as hits go was 2, with Tony Watson giving up the 2 hits. But yeah, other than that, the Dodgers played really well. In that game, it was just Darvish just couldn't get him started, and that was really what killed him in the end. And Game 3 comes, and Dodgers won that one 6-2. That was a game for Cody Bellinger wake-up game right there. I think he went 2 for 4, and yeah, he went 2 for 4 with 1 RBI, scored 2 runs. And Alex Wood pitched really well that game. He pitched 5.2 innings, which means, yeah, he got up until the 6th, and he only gave up 1 hit on 1 earned run. And he threw 84 pitches, only 49 of them were strikes. But like I said, I mean, he made it up until the 6th inning, only gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, and Kenley Jansen came in and closed it out. He gave up a earned run, but that really didn't hurt them because the Dodgers were already up 6-1 by the time Jansen came in. So, yeah, it was a really good game for the Dodgers. And then Game 5 comes up, and that was probably the best game of the series so far. That was the one where it was just back and forth the entire time. I think that was the one where it was 13 or 14-13. Yeah, 14-13. And that was just an amazing game, probably the best game of the series so far, one of the best World Series games ever. Dodgers were up in that one, and that's the one where Kershaw blew the lead in the 4th. The Astros tied it back, and then the Dodgers came back and took the lead once again, and then Kershaw came back out again, and he couldn't stop the bleeding at all. And that just pretty much propelled the Astros until extra innings, and they won that game 13-12. And as far as, like I said, yesterday's game comes, and LA is just, they played it out perfectly yesterday or Tuesday night. So just so everyone knows, yeah, Tuesday night they played it perfectly. It went probably as well as you could. I mean, other than Rich Hill being frustrated for being pulled out pretty early, the Dodgers did well. The bullpen came out, did their job, and it was just a really great game played. And as far as today goes, it's going to be a game where I think you're going to see a hero today. It's not really going to be like one team is leading throughout the game. It's going to be back and forth, and I think it's going to come down to the last couple of innings, and it might even go to extras today. And I expect Jose Altuve to have a big game. The same with Carlos Correa, and this is going to be one of the funner Game 7s that we've seen in a while, because I'm really excited to see how Kershaw comes out today, because there's no doubt in my mind it's Game 7. You know what? You're going to need your best out there, so he's going to come out of the bullpen, and they really need Yu Darvish to come out and pitch at least 5 solid innings. Don't give up more than 2 runs, or even 3 if that, but 2 and 5 innings would probably be really solid for them, because Dodgers hitters, they're on fire right now also. And I think that they're going to be able to put up a lot of runs. At least they're going to keep up today. But yeah, when Kershaw comes in, it's just going to be interesting. This could be the game where Kershaw comes in, he can just silence all the haters. And I know that I've been really critical of him in the postseason. And like I said, he could just silence me. He comes out there out of the bullpen and say he goes comes out in the 6th if Darvish pitches 5 decent innings, or let's say maybe Darvish is going to pitch 4, because Dave Roberts is one who he doesn't like taking risks. Okay, if you see that the pitcher, you've seen so far this series, that if the pitcher is starting to run into some trouble and like this game hasn't been broken open yet, he's gonna pull you and he's gonna bring in people from the bullpen. So you know what? There's a good chance that Darvish might be up until the 4th or 5th. He might be giving up a few hits, and you know what? Dave Roberts is like, bring out Kershaw, and then we'll see from there. He needs to have like a Madison Bumgarner type of postseason when I believe it was 2012, I think. I can't remember exactly the year, where Bumgarner basically won the World Series by himself, just pitching pretty much on almost every game and just being lights out every time he came out. Kershaw and Bumgarner really compared a lot, because one plays for a rival team, the other one plays for the other rival team. Fans love comparing them, and as far as postseason goes, Bumgarner is the better pitcher, but overall, in terms of pure ability and just stats and all that stuff, you got to go Kershaw. But like I said, we're going to see it today. This could be the game where Kershaw is finally, he's taken seriously when it comes to the postseason. But like I said, we'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see. In this game, it's going to be tough, because with my heart, I'm picking the Astros, but in my head, it's telling me, go Dodgers. They're at home. It's Game 7. Like I say, Kershaw's going to be out there pitching, and it's just, I don't know. It comes down to Yu Darvish. If he can just hold his own for 5 innings, then I really like the Dodgers, the Dodgers' chances. But also with Houston, that you can't really ever count them out. They're a fun team to watch, and they're just fighting always constantly. And Game 4 really showed us that. So it's going to be really interesting to see. Or actually, Game 5, I should say. Yeah, Game 5 showed us that. And it's just going to be interesting to see how it goes. Houston's not going to go away today, even if the Dodgers go out, jump out to like a 3-0 lead or anything like that through 5 or anything. Yeah, it's going to be close. So we'll see how it all plays out. I think I'm gonna go with my heart for this pick. I'm gonna go Astros. I really think Altuve is gonna have a big game, and I can't remember who exactly is going today for Houston. Or Lance McCullers is going for Houston. He pitched pretty well in his last start, so I think that he's gonna surprise us again today, and he's gonna pitch well, and I think he's gonna it's gonna be a close game throughout. It's not gonna be a high scoring game. I think it's gonna be just like Game 6, and like I said, it's gonna come down to the last couple innings. I'm gonna go probably like a 4-3, 4-2, 3-2 score line, something like that around there. It's not gonna be a lot of runs or anything like that. It's just gonna be just one of those straightforward baseball games where pitching is gonna pitch well, and if you leave it up and make a mistake, then that's when the opposing hitters are gonna take advantage of that. So yeah, I'm gonna go Astros today, and I believe that they're gonna win their first World Series. So it's been a great series throughout. It's probably one of the best World Series ever. So yeah, I mean, kind of stinks for us fans. Now it's going to end, and baseball is going to be gone till April. So yeah, it's going to be fun. So we'll see how it plays out. But that's going to be it for this first segment. Thanks for listening. Hey, are you looking to spice things up in the bedroom? Have you been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or adult movie? Well, AdamandEve.com has an offer you're not going to be able to resist. You go to AdamandEve.com, and for a limited time only, you'll get 50% off just about any item. But that's not all they're offering. Oh no. When you select your one item at 50% off, you're also going to receive 3 free adult DVDs, just in case you need that little inspiration. Plus a free gift so essential, I can't even mention it on the podcast. And to top it all off, they're even going to throw in free shipping on your entire order, and we all know how we love that free shipping. And no, they're not kidding about any of this. So check out adamandeve.com today for this special offer. You'll get 50% off one item when you type in the promo code SPORT for the offer code upon checkout. When you do, you'll get 3 free DVDs, a free extra gift, and that free shipping. Just use the promo code SPORT, that's S-P-O-R-T, at adamandeve.com. Again, that's S-P-O-R-T, SPORT, at adamandeve.com. And welcome back to the GSMC Sports Podcast. Again, in this segment, we're going to talk some NBA games from Tuesday night and talk about the games that are going to be played Wednesday night. So let's get into it. Sacramento went into Indiana, lost that game 83-101, and Sacramento only had 48 points going into the fourth quarter, which is brutal for a team that's trying to develop. It's just kind of is like, oh, what are we doing here and stuff like that. It's terrible. Yeah, like I said, they lost 101-83. De'Aaron Fox had a decent game, 18 points on 9 of 18 shooting. Victor Oladipo had 14 points, and Bojan Bogdanovic, not to be confused with Bogdan Bogdanovic, who plays for Sacramento, he had 17 points for Indiana, and they came out with the win in that one. Phoenix went into Brooklyn, won that one 122-114. Devin Booker had a really good game. He had 32 points, 7 rebounds. Mike James had 24 points for Phoenix. TJ Warren, who's been really solid so far this season, had 20 points and 11 rebounds. And D'Angelo Russell had, once again, another great game. He had 33 points, and he's just really taken this little lead role that Brooklyn has given him, and he's ran away with it. He's been doing really well, and he's just a player who's impressed me so far this season. Oklahoma City went into Milwaukee, won that one 110-91. Paul George had 20 points. Russell Westbrook had a pretty efficient game, 12 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists, and on 5 of 12 shooting. Carmelo Anthony scored 17 points on 6 of 14 shooting with 8 rebounds, and Giannis Antetokounmpo had just another great game again, 28 points, 9 of 14 shooting, and 8 rebounds. And it's like he hasn't had that one bad game yet. He had a game against the Celtics where you felt like they limited him, but again, he scored 28 points. So I mean, he's just been really dominant this season, and the teams haven't really found a way to be able to limit him completely, and I don't think that they're going to be able to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. I mean, there's a good chance he could average around 30 points a game and possibly even more with how he's been playing so far. I know it's early, so we really got to take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, like I said, don't be surprised if he's finishing the end of the year with over 30 points a game, because he's just been simply dominant. No one can really stop him. Chris Middleton had a poor game. He had 9 points on 3 of 13 shooting. And usually Milwaukee's always going to need someone to step up with Giannis, because he's going to play his good game. But when you don't have guys like Middleton or Brogdon playing well, then you have no chance at winning. So, but yeah, Detroit went into the LA and played the Lakers. They lost that game 113-93. Reggie Jackson had 19 points, 7 rebounds. Lonzo Ball, he shot the ball decent this time. He had 13 points on 6 rebounds, 6 of 13 shooting. So that's a little under 50% right there. Julius Randle came off the bench, had 17 points, 7 of 9 shooting, and Kyle Kazuma? I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but I'll figure that out eventually. Shot 6 of 8, had 16 points, and he's really been Summer League. He really played well and whatnot, but sometimes you can only take Summer League play with a grain of salt. You really can't pay attention to it too much, and you got to really see how they do in the regular season. And Kyle Zuma, like I said, I'm not really sure how to pronounce his last name, but yeah, he's been playing well so far coming off the bench, and he's just been a good spark. Magic Johnson did well finding that one, or whoever. I'm sure, it was Magic Johnson who picked him up, but yeah, he did well in order to find him. So let's get into today's games. Sacramento is going into Boston, and that's not looking like a good one for Sacramento. Boston's been playing really well. I believe they're going for their 6th straight win today, and I'm sure they'll get it. It's going to be an interesting matchup in that game to watch is Kyrie Irving versus De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox's first matchup against a really solid point guard was against John Wall, and De'Aaron Fox just blew that one completely. Played poorly. I think he shot 1 of 8 that game, only had 2 points, so we're going to see how he does with Kyrie. Kyrie's been playing really good defense so far this season, so we'll see. Fox is really fast, so it's going to be an interesting matchup, and vice versa. I mean, Kyrie's just been, like I said, he's been heating up, playing well, and it's going to be interesting to see how Fox guards him. So we'll see how that game plays out. But I like Boston in that one. Milwaukee's going into Charlotte. I'm going to pick Milwaukee in this one. I don't think they're going to drop back-to-back games. Giannis is going to go for around 30 points, I think, again, and Kemba Walker should have a solid game. Dwight Howard is actually, I know most fans around the league just can't stand Dwight Howard, but he's going to be he's a future Hall of Famer, and he's been playing really well so far for the Hornets, and he's not back to the old Dwight Howard. I don't think he'll ever be back to the old Dwight Howard, but he's playing way better than he did for the Lakers or Houston and Atlanta. So he's really stepped up his play, and it's really good to see from him because he's a really good player. But I like Milwaukee in that one. And then Indiana at Cleveland. This is a really interesting game to me. Indiana's been playing well. They're around the 8th seed right now. I believe they're 4-3. Yeah, they're 4-3. And Cleveland has just been really poor so far this season. So we're going to see how that one plays out also. I mean, LeBron James, expect him at point guard once again. And the Cavaliers, actually, they had a team meeting the other day. Ty Lue said that they just weren't having fun playing basketball, so that's why they called this team meeting. And we'll see if it did anything, really. I mean, when you see teams say, oh, yeah, we had a team meeting and whatnot, I mean, that's really not too good. And usually it doesn't turn out too good after the team meeting. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm going to go Indiana in this one. You know what? No. I'm going to go Cleveland only because they're playing at home. If it was in Indiana, then I'd pick them since they've been playing really well. And Victor Oladipo has been lights out so far this year. So we'll see how it goes. But, yeah, I like Cleveland in that one. I think LeBron's going to have a triple-double today. He's going to go for a big game. So he's going to have to just put the team on his back again like he's been doing so far until Isaiah Thomas gets back. And, yeah, we'll see how they do. But, yeah, I like Cleveland in that one. Atlanta at Philadelphia. I'm picking Philly in that one 10 times out of 10. Ben Simmons is going to have a good game. Joel Embiid's going to have a great game too. And Atlanta's just not a good team right now. They're going to be in the lottery once the season's over. So, yeah, I like Philly in that one without a doubt. Phoenix at Washington. I'm going to go Washington in that one. John Wall's going to have a good game. Otto Porter has been having a great season so far. It's going to be Otto Porter's breakout season right here. He's going to play well, and he's going to be that third punch for the Wizards with Bradley and Bill being the 1-2. So, yeah, I really like the Wizards in that one. I don't see Phoenix really pulling it out unless somehow they just shoot the ball well and play well. But Phoenix really hasn't shown that they can be consistent doing that. So, yeah, I like Washington in that one. Excuse me. And then Chicago is going into Miami. I like Miami in that one. Deion Waiters had a really good game, I believe, Monday night. He scored 33 points in the loss against the Timberwolves. So, yeah, I like Miami in that one. And then Houston is going into New York to play the Knicks. I like Houston in that one. Knicks have been playing pretty well so far this season. I think they're around 500 right now. And Kristaps Porzingis has been showing everyone why he's the franchise and why they need to build a team around him. He's been playing really well so far. Eric Gordon's averaging for Houston around 25 points a game, and he's just been lights out for them shooting the ball. It's a really good contribution from him because Chris Paul has been out. I know he only played one game, so you can't really say, oh, yeah, Chris Paul's been affecting the team or whatever, but we all know what Chris Paul is. He's a great player. So anytime you don't have a guy like that, you're always going to need someone to step up, and Eric Gordon has done that so far this season, and if he's able to continue this play once Paul comes back, then Houston's going to be a scary team. They're not going to really challenge the Warriors in the postseason or anything like that. I mean, they might get a couple of games, but yeah, like I said, just Houston's going to look like a scary team. And expect a big game from James Harden. I mean, these top players always, for some reason, I don't know if it's just because it's New York and Madison Square Garden, but these top players always have their best games there. So I expect James Harden to score around I'm going to go around 35 points today. And yeah, Houston's going to win that one. Orlando at Memphis, that's a game it's another interesting game. I know that they're not really the bigger teams in the league or anything like that, but if you like watching good basketball and you just love the game, then Orlando at Memphis is a game that you're going to want to watch. Memphis has been playing well so far. They're near the top in the West right now, and Orlando, those young kids are finally starting to put it together. Orlando's near the top also, I believe. So yeah, we're going to see how that goes. I think I'm going to go Orlando in that one. Orlando's a really fun team that I like to watch, and just feel like Aaron Gordon's been playing well. Evan Fournier has been playing well, so I like Orlando in that one. And then Minnesota's going into New Orleans to play the Pelicans. I'm going to go Minnesota in that one. Pelicans really aren't a team that impresses me all too much. I mean, yeah, they got Boogie and they got Anthony Davis, but once Rondo comes back is when I think they're going to start hitting their stride. But as of right now, they're not a good team at all with just those two guys. They need Rondo to come back to help run the offense, and it's going to be a lot smoother once he's back. And you're going to see DeMarcus Cousins and Anthony Davis get even better when Rondo's out there because he makes everyone around him better. He's a true point guard out there. He doesn't shoot the ball well at all. I mean, he's gotten better over the years, but like I said, he's just still not that good. Like I said, he makes other players better, but I'm going to go Minnesota in that one. Expect a big game from Andrew Wiggins, who's been playing really well so far this season. Toronto's going into Denver. I'm going to go Denver in that one. Toronto's been playing well, but I just feel like Denver's going to pull this one out. Jokic has been playing well. Jamal Murray's been playing well. Gary Harris has been so far this season, but DeRozan and DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry, they played well so far. But I like Denver in that one, so I'm going to go Denver. Portland's going into Utah. I'm going to go Utah. Portland really just has McCollum and Lillard doing the work for them, and I mean, I'm not trying to knock the players around them or anything like that. It's pretty much been the Lillard and McCollum show as it's been the last few years, and I feel like Utah, they played well as a team now that they don't have Gordon Hayward or anything like that, so they need each other, and Rudy Gobert has been playing really well so far this season. So yeah, I'm gonna go Utah on that one, and Dallas is going into LA to play the Clippers, and I'm gonna go Clippers in that one. Like I said, it's just one of those games where you pick the Clippers 10 times out of 10. Dallas is not a good team right now. Dirk Nowitzki's old. I believe this is his last year. This should be. He's just not the same old Dirk or anything like that. Dennis Smith Jr., he's a fun rookie to watch, but he just hasn't been shooting the ball well at all this last couple of games, and I think he's just going through those little rookie pains that every rookie has. And as far as LA goes, they've just been playing really well. They play good team defense. They share the ball on offense, and Blake Griffin has just been playing really well so far. He had a bad game against the Warriors, I believe, on Monday, but I mean, who doesn't have the bad game against Draymond Green when he's guarding you? So, yeah, I like the Clippers in that one. Blake Griffin's going to have a solid game. Sure, DeAndre Jordan's going to pull down around 12, 13 rebounds around there. And Danilo Gallinari is a player who's been playing really well for them also. So, expect a big game out of those three. So, to get into this, a little bit of storylines, Jahlil Okafor, Philly's not going to pick up his option this season. So, he's looking for a buyout and or to be traded. I'm not sure what value Philly's going to get for him now that it's been known that Okafor wants a buyout also, or either or. So teams might just wait for Okafor to get bought out before they go and try and sign him because there's really no point in trading for him. Philly doesn't really play him all that much, and he really just hasn't turned out to be the player that we all thought he would be. He's not a bust or anything like that. He's just not, like I said, he just hasn't played up to expectations. So yeah, I expect him to get bought out before he gets traded. I'm not really sure why a team would really trade for him right now unless they really felt like he could help them. A team like Boston might trade for him just because they have the money for him and they really don't have anything to lose with their picks or anything like that. He's not going to be worth that LA pick if it falls 2 through 5. So I don't think that the Celtics are going to give that up for him. And yeah, he's probably worth around a late first round pick. So, like I said, I doubt that someone's going to trade for him. But if a team was, I'd say look out for Boston because they need all the rebounding help they can get, even though they've been playing really well on the boards. So yeah, expect Jahlil Okafor to get bought out. And also a quick little note before we go into our next break. Gordon Hayward is out of his cast and he's now in a walking boot and he's begun shooting while sitting in a chair, and that's being reported by ESPN. So yeah, he's on his next step to recovery, so we'll see how that goes. And like I said, that's going to wrap it up for this segment, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
GSMC Sports Podcast. These next two segments are going to be a lot of football talk with the trade deadline just passing, and there's been a quarterback change and just a couple of storylines that I want to go over. So first, let's start off with Denver, they're going to be starting Brock Osweiler this week against Philadelphia, and I feel bad for Vance Joseph because I don't really think we're going to see a difference really unless Brock Osweiler has changed his play up completely since he's been the backup quarterback for Denver. And Denver's kind of handcuffed right now. They don't have any good quarterbacks on the roster. We're not really sure what Paxton Lynch is because he's been hurt and he's only had about maybe 3 or 4 practices since he's come off of his injury. So Denver's really not in a good spot right now. They're just going to lose a lot more games going forward, and I don't like Denver at all going forward. It's just they're probably going to have a top 15 pick at least, top 12, something like that, because Brock Osweiler, he's shown us before. He showed us when he was originally at Denver at first. Then he showed us when he was at Houston, and then Cleveland didn't even want him. So yeah, he's just not a decent quarterback. And Trevor Siemian is. I think that experiment's over. I don't think that he's gonna come back this season unless Brock Osweiler. I don't think he's gonna play at all actually for the rest of the season. Brock Osweiler doesn't work out and Paxton Lynch is healthy, then I expect him to come be the next guy in. And then as far as next season goes, Denver's gonna have to draft a quarterback because they know what they have with all of them. And like I said, except for Paxton Lynch, of course, but I'm not sure how he's gonna be if he does end up coming into this season. So we'll see how that goes. And speaking of the Browns, they did the most Browns thing you could possibly do at the trade deadline. So let's just go a little chronological order type of thing. So we'll start with the whole Jimmy G trade to the Niners. And you're probably thinking, what does that have to do with Cleveland? It has to do with the fact that Cleveland has needed a quarterback. They've tried to get Jimmy G before, and then with the Niners only giving up a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, you're thinking, why didn't Cleveland offer more? I mean, they could have. They have all kinds of picks and all that stuff. They were going to give up actually, I'll wait to say what they're going to give up for AJ McCarron. But yeah, it's just a real Cleveland move. I mean, I just don't understand that front office. I mean, it's just they brought in all kinds of new people and stuff like that, but they still can't seem to get it right. There's just something about the Cleveland Browns. I don't know if it's just like a curse or something like that, but it's just they cannot get it together at all in that front office. And it's just a terrible place to play. Players, once they leave, you've seen players before say how happy they are to leave that city, or not the city itself. I'm not taking a shot at Cleveland, the city. I'm taking a shot at the team itself. Yeah, they say that they're happy to leave the team. It's just, I'm not sure what it is about that franchise. It's just, they've been pretty much had bad luck since they became a franchise again, because we all know the original Cleveland Browns are now the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, the new Cleveland Browns, ever since they came into existence, they just have had bad luck. It's just, they're just not a good franchise run at all. I mean, personally, I know it's kind of extreme or whatever. I think they just should just the owner should just sell the team completely, bring in new owners, and just have them just clean house and everything, new coaches, all that stuff, because they just need a complete new regime, or they just need a clean house. Even if they don't sell the team, clean house after this season. It's not working. Bring in some football minds. I know that the front office was thinking, oh yeah, let's bring in some analytics guys, and that's going to help. This isn't baseball, okay? This is football. Analytics really isn't going to help in football. And I mean, even in basketball, you're seeing analytics a lot more, but football is just not a game where analytics is going to work. You need to pick up dudes who are talented and can just play football. That's all you need. You don't need to overthink it or anything like that. I saw before a couple of years ago when Derek Carr was coming into the draft. They wanted to pick him up, but they ended up going with, I can't remember who they picked up in that draft. But yeah, they ended up not going with Carr. They missed out on Watson. They missed out on Wentz. And I know hindsight is not really a popular thing or anything like that. But as a team like Cleveland, you need to pick the best player available. Okay? I understand that their plan too from the draft of last year. I understand that they were trying to build up picks because they were just an awful team last year. So they're trying to build up picks in the first. I think they had 3 first-round picks in the first. Yeah, 3 first-round picks last year in the draft. So they drafted Kaiser Nkoju from Miami, the tight end, and I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. I'm not completely sure, but like I said, I'm not the best at pronouncing these hard last names. But yeah, and they drafted Jabril Peppers, and Jabril Peppers has been a pretty solid safety for them. And Nkoju really, he doesn't have a quarterback really to throw to him or anything like that. Deshaun Kaiser hasn't been playing well. I mean, Hugh Jackson really hasn't done much to help his development, though. You can't really keep pulling the guy in and out, in and out, in and out, and expect him to do well. So yeah, let's get into this whole AJ McCarron now that I'm getting a little background on the Browns. But of course, we all know how they've been. Yeah, so the Browns and Bengals, they're working out a trade, and they actually had a trade agreed for AJ McCarron to go to Cleveland. And again, still don't get why they just didn't go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not sure if it's because they didn't know he was available or whatnot, but yeah, that's just another story for another day right there. And Yeah, they were going to offer a second and a third round pick for AJ McCarron. And when I saw that, I was just thinking, okay, I mean, they needed their quarterback. That's a lot of value for a guy who's been a backup, and we're not really sure how good he is. He's played a small sample size of games, so I mean, he's looked decent in them. But like I said, you can't really judge a quarterback off of a few games. So yeah, they were going to offer a second and third round pick from this year's draft, not even a second round pick from this year's draft, and the third round pick from the year after. They were going to give up their second and third round picks for AJ McCarron, and just the Browns screwed it up completely. It's just Cincinnati. I think they got the deal done with 5 minutes left before the trade deadline, and then yeah, Cincinnati got their paperwork done, sent it into the league, and there's been two stories floating around as to what happened for the Browns. One's a lot believable because it's an NFL team. You don't really think of them to be incompetent or anything like that. So the first rumor that's floating around was that the Browns simply didn't get their paperwork done in time or something like that. Just couldn't fill out the paperwork and didn't get it in time. And the second rumor, which I actually believe more than the first one, is that they celebrated the trade and they forgot to call it into the league. And I mean, I know you're thinking, you know what, that should probably just a BS story or something like that, and it's not a real story or anything like that. But let's be real here. It's the Browns, okay? They've never really shown in their front office or team or anything like that that they're capable of making good moves or even being smart about it or anything like that for that matter. The Browns I just don't understand what it is with Cleveland as far as just that team goes. It's just like, how do you not get the trade in? Okay, you're a professional football franchise, and like it's just like they brought in all these new guys. Like I was saying a little bit ago, they brought in all these new guys, and they still can't even get it right. It's just baffling to me, and it doesn't make sense to me at all. The Browns are the Browns, but we're gonna see how it all plays out for them. So yeah, they didn't end up with AJ McCarron. Now, yeah, that's another thing. Now that they're gonna have to go forward with DeShone Kizer, what is that gonna do for him? He obviously knows now that the Browns don't think he's the guy, so there's no point in keeping him around, really, because if they thought he was the guy, then they wouldn't be trading for AJ McCarron. So we're gonna see how it goes for them. So I really don't expect DeShone Kizer to be in Cleveland for a lot longer, maybe for a year or two after this, but I really don't see him finishing out his rookie contract there, obviously, because they don't want him, and it's just Browns are just gonna Brown, dude. They can't get out of their own way. It's ridiculous, and I don't know, dude. The Browns just need to just blow it all up once again. I know we say that every year, but they need to bring in football guys instead of these little analytics guys that they brought in. So next thing I want to cover is Ezekiel Elliott's suspension. The judge ruled that his suspension should go into effect now, so now he's going to serve it. But the NFL Players Association are filing an appeal on behalf of Ezekiel Elliott, and they filed it today, which is Wednesday, and we're going to see how that goes. I'm not really sure how it's going to play out for him. Personally, I think that he's going to end up serving the suspension, but it's going to be interesting to see because the NFL Players Association, like I said, they filed that appeal and they asked the judge to. I think they filed something. I can't remember exactly what it stated, but it's asking for a decision on the appeal this coming Friday, and we'll see because I know that they're trying to do that in order to help him play on Sunday. But this has just been a real dragged out, long situation, and it's really. I just wish it would be over already. I feel like Ezekiel Elliott should just take the suspension already, just miss these 6 games because I mean. The longer you wait, I mean, the suspension is inevitable. Okay, so Ezekiel, he's gonna be suspended eventually, but he's just playing it out, and it's just gonna hurt the team in the long run. Okay, like if he would have took the suspension in the beginning of the year, I mean, we all knew he was never gonna win it. We saw with Tom Brady, the NFL always wins when it comes to this stuff. I mean, yeah, you can appeal and they'll get a game knocked off or 2 games knocked off, but you're still gonna serve the suspension. And I feel like that he just needs to. I understand that he wants to be out there on the field and whatnot, but it's not going to work out for him. He's going to end up serving it, and those 6 games are going to come eventually. So I feel like he should just serve it now so he doesn't hurt the team more going forward. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, like I said, I expect him to still stay suspended, but I mean, we'll see how it all plays out. I mean, you can't really tell with how these courts have been working and stuff like that. I'm not too big on like lawyer stuff or anything like that, so I'm not sure exactly how it works, but it's just been one messy situation. So other news though, Brian Hoyer is back to the Patriots. He signed a 3-year deal with them. Originally that Jimmy Garoppolo trade, the Niners were going to offer Brian Hoyer and the second round pick for Garoppolo, and the Patriots said no, so that they can get a compensatory pick, or is it compensatory? I believe it's called, something like that. Pick for him if he plays well. So it's another Bill Belichick move right there. The guy you were offered in the trade is the guy that you told him, yeah, I don't want him, and they still somehow end up with him. So we'll see how that all plays out. And now that he signed for 3 years, I expect Brady to keep going for 3 more years. And it's just, Brady's going to be around for a while. He's going to be haunting the AFC East. I don't understand with Tom Brady. He's one of the best ever, but it's ridiculous how he's playing. His play has not dropped at all. Okay, he's not looking as good as he looked last season, but he's still a top quarterback in the league, and that's not really up for debate. I think he's second in the league in yards right now, and I don't think he's near the top in touchdowns, but I mean, he's out there slinging the ball well, and it's just, you don't see a drop off from Tom Brady at all. He's been around since I think it was 2000. Yeah, 2001 is when he won the Super Bowl. Yeah, I believe it was. And it's just, I don't know what it is with this guy. How does he do it? It's just beyond me. I mean, we've never really seen anything like this before. I mean, Brett Favre came out of retirement and stuff. He played well for the Vikings, and I think he went to the Jets after that. Yeah, he went to the Jets after that. And once he was playing for the Jets, he really wasn't all that good or anything like that. They had a chance of making the playoffs, but that's when Chad Pennington went to Miami in 2008, and that's when they beat the Jets in the last game of the season, and that's how Miami clinched. That was also the year that Tom Brady actually tore his ACL, and Matt Castle came in. Yeah, Matt Castle came in, and that game is what won Miami the division and kept the Patriots out of the playoffs, I believe, and they both finished 11-5, I think. And I can't remember if the Patriots did miss the playoffs or not, but yeah, Miami ended up winning the division, and that was just the only time that someone has been able to take something away from the Patriots. And I mean, look at that. Tom Brady was out for that year, and he comes back, and he's incredible right now, dude. You come back from a torn ACL as a quarterback, you're gonna have to plant your foot, plant your legs, and all that stuff when you're making your throw, so it's gonna put some pressure on your knee, but he just hasn't had a drop off. I just don't get it. It's just, Tom Brady is just a different type of player compared to everyone else. And I know it goes without saying, but it's been ridiculous how well he's been able to keep up his form. And I think he's 40 years old, I believe, right now. He's going to be 40. And you know what? We could see him play up until he's 45 or something like that. I mean, he's not slowing down or anything like that. And then whenever Bill Belichick is out there, he's the Greg Popovich of the NFL. Your team's always going to have a chance. He always puts players in the position to win, and he has them. His motto is do your job, and that's exactly what he has the players do, and they do it well. So we're going to see how that all plays out. So that's going to do it for this segment right here, and we're going to come back, talk a little bit more NFL when we come back. We'll see you later.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Deadline, and we're gonna preview the Thursday night football game between the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets. So let's start out with the winners and losers for the trade deadline. So I'm gonna start out with my losers. Okay, I'm gonna go the Miami Dolphins losers for giving up J.J. for a 4th round pick. I understand trading. Well, actually, I don't really understand trading a J.J., but if you're gonna trade a guy like that, get some more value for him. So since they only got a 4th round pick for him, then I'm gonna call them a loser for that. The Cleveland Browns are also losers of the trade deadline for not getting A.J. McCarron. And, yeah, I don't understand the Browns. Probably never will. They're probably not sure when they're ever going to get out of the way. But, yeah, they're losers for not completing that trade. And Carolina Panthers are also losers of the trade deadline for me. I just don't get it. Their offense has been terrible so far this season. Cam Newton's not playing well or anything like that. And when you trade away your best offensive weapon, I'm saying best. I mean, we all know Greg Olson's on that team, but he's been on IR. So far this season, Kelvin Benjamin has been their best weapon. Christian McCaffrey's been good, but as all-around talent, I feel like Kelvin Benjamin, you need a receiver like him, especially for Cam to throw to, and he's just not going to have that anymore since he's headed out to Buffalo, and we'll talk about Buffalo in a little bit. But, yeah, Carolina's a big loser for that one. The Houston Texans also losers for their trade. Actually, they're still losers. They traded away their best offensive tackle, and that's not going to help out Deshaun Watson at all. So, rookie, you're going to need your best offensive lineman in order to play well and to just have the best opportunity to win. And I just don't understand why they traded Dwayne Brown. I understand that he held out for most of the beginning of the season and all that stuff. But I mean, Deshaun Watson's playing well, and when you're out here and you trade his best offensive tackle to Seattle, it just doesn't work out well. It's just not going to work out. I just don't understand it. And then my other loser is, that's it for the losers. I'm going to go Browns, Carolina, Miami, and Houston. Houston still has a decent team, or actually still have a good team, but I don't like the Dwayne Brown trade. I don't like the J.J. trade for Miami. Don't like the Browns, really, as far as anything that they do. And, yeah, as far as winners go, I'm going to go San Francisco. We're not sure how Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play, but they got a quarterback for the future, at least they believe. They did give up a second-round pick for a guy who's only played 2 games, or started 2 games, so we'll see. I feel like there's a lot of hype around the Patriots, but they got a quarterback. They're not going to have to pay Kirk Cousins all that money, but if Jimmy G does play well, then you know what, they might have to pay him a ton of money, so we'll see. But he is younger, so it makes more sense. Patriots also a winner. They got a second-round pick for a guy who's only played 2 games. It's high value. It's going to be a high second-round pick since the Niners are terrible so far this season, and they ended up getting a compensatory pick if Jimmy G plays well. And like I said earlier, that the Niners were going to offer Brian Hoyer in the trade, and the Patriots said no, and they still ended up with Brian Hoyer for 3 years, so as a backup quarterback. So once again, Bill Belichick wins. I guess that's a win-win trade for both. And Philadelphia Eagles also big winners of the trade deadline. They're 7-1 so far this season. Carson Wentz has been playing lights out. That defense has been looking good. The receivers have been playing good. Actually, Nelson Aguilar, before I get into why they're winners, well, you know what? Yeah, they're winners because they got J.J., and it's just going to take a lot of weight off of Carson Wentz's shoulders. Not that he's been having to do it all on his own or anything like that. Like Garrett Blunt's been producing for them, and Wendell Smallwood, he's good out of the backfield. So, yeah, they win that trade because all they had to do was give up a 4th round for J.J., and that team's going to be pretty good going forward, actually really good. The receivers have been playing well. They got Nelson Aguilar, who couldn't catch a cold last season. This season, he's playing in the slot, and he's been playing way better. Alshon Jeffrey's having a really good year, and he's been able to stay healthy. And Torrey Smith, he's not really doing a lot, but he's producing, and that's all you can ask for a player like him. And the Bills also big winners at the trade deadline. They got Kelvin Benjamin. They did give up a 3rd and 7th round pick for him, but you know what? Bills are trying to make the playoffs right now. They got the longest playoff drought in the league so far. Yeah, they have as of right now, they have the longest playoff drought. They haven't won in the division since 1995, and they're only a half game back of the Patriots. And if they win to Thursday night, then they'll be tied with them. So we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, I really like what the Bills did, even though they did give up those 2 picks. I mean, the defense has been playing really well so far this season. Micah Hyde is leading the league in interceptions with 5, I believe, and then LaShawn McCoy is one of the best running backs in the league, top 5 for me. And Tyrod Taylor just has a weapon to throw to now. He's been doing well with what he's had around him. His receivers really haven't been all that good. Zay Jones has been a buzz so far this season. And like I said, Tyrod Taylor, I believe, we'll get into his stats in a little bit. But yeah, he doesn't turn the ball over. And a guy like Kelvin Benjamin is only going to make them better. So Bills did well by trying to win now and picking up Kelvin Benjamin. And the Seattle also big winners. We're getting Dwayne Brown. They actually traded Jeremy Lane, and I believe it was let me see, I should have it right here. Yeah, it was a 3rd round pick, I believe, or something like that. But Jeremy Lane failed his physical, I believe, because of his groin. He's been dealing with that injury the last couple of weeks, and so now that he's gonna come back to Seattle, and now Seattle's gonna be sending the Texans 2018 3rd and then a 2019 2nd round pick. So yeah, I mean Seattle, even though they gave up those 2 high picks, I mean, or high round picks, I should say. They're not going to be high picks in the rounds itself, but they got what they needed. Russell Wilson just he's done what he could with a bad offensive line so far this season. Now Dwayne Brown just elevates that offensive line big time, and like I said, Seattle's always a team. Once the second half of the season comes, they just somehow they flip a switch and boom, they're looking like Super Bowl contenders in the NFC again. So we'll see about that. Also, another note, Leonard Fournette, he missed the last game against Indianapolis, and they're just coming off their bye. But it looks like he might be back this week. He's been dealing with an ankle injury, so if he comes back, that's going to be a big plus for Jacksonville, obviously. But Chris Ivory's also done well to step up in his absence, so we'll see how that goes. But like I said, Leonard Fournette, it's possible he could be back this week, coming back from his ankle injury. So let's preview this Thursday night game between Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo is going to be heading to New York to play the Jets. Let's do injuries first. Charles Clay is going to be out. EJ Gaines is out. And then Jordan Poyer is also questionable. And then for the Jets, Muhammad Wilkerson he's questionable also. So we'll see if he comes out and plays. The Jets are really going to need him. And this is a pretty interesting game because both teams really, the Bills are looking good. They're 5-2. The Jets have surprised some people so far this season. No one really expected them to win too many games, and they've already won 3, and they're 3-5 right now. So if the Jets I don't expect them to make playoffs or anything like that. But as a team for themselves, I know that they want to win this game just so they could try and turn around the season and try and do well. So they don't really want to fall to 3-6. But yeah, let's get into some stats for players right now. Tyrod Taylor is thrown for 1,343 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. LaShawn McCoy has 521 yards and 3 touchdowns. Charles Clay, who's out, has been their leading receiver so far this season. He's got 258 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm not really sure if we're going to see Kelvin Benjamin this one just because the trade just recently happened on Monday, so it's going to take time for him to learn the playbook. But if the Bills end up throwing him out here somehow, I don't really expect them to have a big game or anything like that. The Jets defense has been playing really well so far, and it's really been their offense that's been holding them back, I feel. But yeah, I don't really expect Kelvin Benjamin to play, and if he does, don't really expect much out of him. And as for the Jets go, Josh McCown has 1,840 yards, 12 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Bilal Powell is their leading rusher so far this season with 316 yards and 2 touchdowns. Him and Elijah McGuire and Matt Forte have been splitting time in the backfield. Matt Forte has been really the more productive one with the time he's been given. Elijah McGuire is a speedy little guy, but he's not really ready to take over that backfield yet, I don't think. And then Robbie Anderson's got 27 receptions so far this season for 435 yards and 3 TDs. He's been a player who's really stepped to his play the last couple of weeks, and he's just been really well, playing really well for the Jets. He's a good deep threat for them. He's fast, and we'll see how he does against the Bills. But as far as everything else goes, yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to come down to the defenses, I think. The Jets defense they're like a no-name defense right now. They don't really have that many star players or anything like that. No one that really makes you look twice at, other than the rookie safeties that they have right now, and Jamal Adams and Marcus May. But yeah, they all do well. The linebackers, they do well to fill in their gaps, and the D-line does well to put pressure on the quarterback, and that's just going to help your secondary even more also. I know that the Jets fans are not really too happy with Buster Skrine at all. They've been tired of him, but other than him, the Jets secondary has been pretty good so far this season. And as far as Buffalo, actually, let's get into the Jets offense. Jets offense has been kind of tricky to me so far this season. They don't have, like the defense, they don't have any top guys or anything like that. Matt Forte is a name, but like I said, that's all he is right now. He's just a name. He's not the player that he was before. He produces, but like I said, he's just not the player he was before. Bilal Powell has just been kind of disappointing so far this season. He'll have a good game every now and then. Elijah McGuire is a nice little speedy guy who can make plays for them. He's a good playmaker. Josh McCown is just one of those journeyman quarterbacks where he's not great, but he's going to get the job done for you, and that's what he's been doing so far this season. I mean, the Jets have pretty much been in most of the games that they've played, so I really expect him to be in this one too. But Buffalo, as far as they go, the defense has been lights out. Like I said, Micah Hyde's got 5 interceptions, and that leads the league. The defensive line is always solid for them. That's one thing I like about Buffalo. They always have their linebackers and defensive line always solid, and as a defense, you're always going to need that, and that'll help your secondary play better. And then as far as the offense goes, like I was giving out the stats earlier, Tyrod Taylor, he's been a good quarterback for them so far this season, and there was talk in the beginning of the season where they were trying to get rid of him, or they're not sure if they're going to bring him back after this season. And by the way he's played, I don't see a reason as to why you don't bring him back or keep him going forward. And LaShawn McCoy is going to do his thing today, I think, or Thursday. I don't know why I keep saying today, but yeah, he's going to do his thing Thursday. He's been a solid running back, one of the best since he's been in Buffalo. He's one of the best actually when he was in Philadelphia. So yeah, I really like LaShawn McCoy in this game. And then as far as the receivers go, like I said, not too high on Buffalo's receivers at all. Even with Kelvin Benjamin coming right now, I mean, once after this week, I feel once he'll be acclimated to the team, learn the playbook a little bit more, and after this week is when I expect him to play a lot better. But as far as that all goes, I really don't like Buffalo's receivers in this game at all. So it's going to be an interesting game. We're not really sure. Like, Buffalo is a team where I'm pretty high on them right now. I don't think that they're going to be like an AFC Championship type of team. I don't even think they're going to win the division, but I feel like they're going to end their playoff drought this season. All they have to do, they just need to win games like this, okay? This isn't a trap game or anything like that. This is a game where it's a divisional game. Go out and win it, okay? If you win it, you're tied with the Patriots. The Patriots aren't looking as good as they have in years before, but they're still 6-2. And yeah, you want to be on par with the Patriots. If you keep up with them, you're gonna make the playoffs, obviously. So we'll see how it goes for Buffalo. But yeah, as far as how it all goes, I mean, let's give a little background on how the teams did the week before. Buffalo went into Oakland, or Oakland actually went into Buffalo. Buffalo just simply manhandled them the entire game. Derek Carr couldn't get anything going. I know it was raining a lot, but you can't really use that as an excuse as an NFL player. And because Buffalo did fine with it. And LaShawn McCoy ran all over that defense, and the defense actually did well. I think they returned a fumble for a touchdown in that game. And yeah, they just manhandled them for a 33-10 score. Atlanta and the Jets faced off in the Jets pass game, and the Jets were competing throughout the game. It's just they couldn't finish. They lost that game 25-20. Matt Ryan had a pretty good game, and Josh McCown also had a pretty decent game. I don't think he threw any interceptions that game. He had around 250 yards, I believe, and 2 touchdowns. So Jets come Thursday night, it's just if they want a chance in order to win that game, you just can't make mistakes. Don't turn the ball over, and they'll be fine after that. I mean, I'm going to go pick Buffalo in this game. Mainly because Buffalo is just a better team right now, and I think that they will get to Josh McCown and will force them to make a couple of turnovers. But like I said, in order for the Jets to do well in this game, they have to step up their game, and they can't really they can't make mistakes or anything like that. So we'll see going forward. Or actually, I'm going to get into a little bit more stats for each team. Right now, Buffalo's averaging 21 points per game. That's not great, but it's good. The Jets are averaging less than 20 at 19. That's not all too good either. And the Bills have one of the best scoring defenses in the league. They're only giving up 16 points per game, and the Jets are giving up 23. So that's another thing to watch out for right there. The Buffalo really doesn't let you score, and New York doesn't have the weapons on offense in order to go up against the defense like that. So that's another reason why I like Buffalo. Buffalo, their offense isn't really too high-powered or anything like that. It's really just the running game and Tyrod doing what he does when he's given the chance. He's only averaging around 191 yards a game. The Jets are averaging 233 passing yards per game. As far as rushing goes, the Bills are one of the best with 124 yards per game rushing, and the Jets, they're averaging actually less than 100 yards a game rushing, and that's not too good. They're at 95 right now. And Buffalo, they'll give up quite a bit of yards on defense, but you're not going to really score against them. This is a true bend but don't break defense right here. They give up 277 yards passing per game, and they only give up 80 yards rushing per game. So this game's going to come down to Josh McCown on offense, because I like the Jets defense, so I don't really think that Buffalo's offense is really going to do too much. They'll probably put up around 20 points in this game, but it's really going to come down to what Josh McCown does, because I don't expect any of the running backs to do well. And as far as the Jets defense goes, they give a 241 yard passing yards per game and 128 yards per or rushing per game. So actually, you know what? You might even see LaShawn McCoy have a really good game, since the Jets have one of the worst rush defenses. But we're gonna see how it all plays out. The Jets just need to compete. No one's expecting them to do well or anything like that. So we'll see how it goes. But once again, I like Buffalo in that game, and I like Buffalo really going forward and whatnot. Jets they're going to start slipping. If they lose this game, it'll be their 4th straight loss. And if Buffalo wins, it'll be their, I believe it's 5th win out of their last 6 games. So we'll see how it all plays out. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Thursday night game. And we'll be back right now for this last segment. Stay tuned.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
GSMC Sports Podcast. For this last segment, we're going to talk some college football, talk about the rankings. I'm going to give my thoughts on it and then give my rankings, give my top 4, and then also do the top 10. And then we're going to talk some Champions League and then games to watch also for Tuesday or Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night. So let's get into it. I'm just going to read off the top 10 rankings from the college football right now. So the committee has Georgia at number 1, Alabama at number 2, Notre Dame at number 3, Clemson at number 4, Oklahoma at number 5, Ohio State at number 6, Penn State at number 7, TCU at number 8, and then these last two really surprised me because these teams are still undefeated. They got Wisconsin at 9 and then Miami at number 10. I understand that Wisconsin and Miami, actually I'm not, Wisconsin I guess I kind of understand what the committee's thinking as far as ranking them there because I know everyone says that they haven't played the best schedule, but I mean, you can only really play the guys that are in front of you and just win those games, and that's exactly what they're doing. So I feel like they deserve a lot more actually. Yeah, they deserve a lot more respect. And Miami, they deserve a ton more respect too. I mean, they played a decent team so far this season, and playing in the ACC, I mean, winning all your games so far, I mean, that's not something that should be overlooked. They should be a lot higher. Both of them should be over TCU. And actually, let me give my top 4, and then we'll get into everything else. So my top 4 would be Alabama number 1, then Georgia, and then I go Clemson at number 3, and then Ohio State at number 4. And then I like where Oklahoma is at number 5. Then I go Penn State at number 6, and then at 7 I have Miami. Then at 8 I have Wisconsin. Or actually I skipped over Notre Dame. So actually at 5, yeah, Oklahoma. Then 6 I'll go Notre Dame. 7 Penn State. Number 8, Miami. Number 9, Wisconsin. And then number 10, TCU. TCU does not need to be ranked above Miami or Wisconsin. TCU is not going to make the playoff or anything like that. These teams are still undefeated, so I feel like they deserve more respect and deserve to be ranked over TCU. And Notre Dame is they play Miami in 2 weeks, I believe. I think Miami has Virginia Tech coming up this week, and then after that they have Notre Dame, and that's gonna be a game for Miami. If they win that one, then there's a good chance they jump into the top 4, even they'll be 5th or 6th around there. If they beat Notre Dame, I think they should be top 4, but I'm sure the committee will probably have them at around number 5. So. And another thing, too, I don't understand why they don't have Alabama at number 1, okay? Alabama. It's the top powerhouse in the college football. They're the best team. They're always the best team constantly. Unless someone takes them down, you don't move them from the number 1 spot. Alabama, that's their spot. They shouldn't be number 2, number 3, anything like that. They should be number 1, okay? Georgia's been a good team so far this season, but I don't think they're better than Bama, and I won't think they're better than Bama until they prove it, and that'll be if they make it to the SEC championship game, which I think those two teams will play in there. And if Georgia is able to make it to the SEC championship game undefeated, and they do lose, then I still think that that they will make the playoff. So I guess we'll see about that. I think Bama's a lock for the playoff, so I feel it's going to come down to those 3-4 spots. If Georgia just stays undefeated for the rest of the regular season, and then once the SEC championship comes, I think they're a lock for the playoff also. So yeah, like I said, it's going to come down to the 3rd and 4th spot. And for my early predictions right now, I feel like Ohio State's going to be in the top 4 also. So then for my last team, I'm gonna go Miami. I think it's really it's not a popular pick or anything like that, and they haven't really been playing like an undefeated team or anything like that. And I know that college football and all those fans and the committee is all big on how you play and how you win and stuff like that, but more I'm the type of if you win games and you just go through the schedule and just keep winning your games and whatnot, then yeah, you deserve to be in the top 4. And I feel like Miami's going to have it tough because they're playing Virginia Tech, who's ranked 15th, I think, and then Notre Dame, they're ranked number 3 right now. So after the Virginia Tech game is when they play Notre Dame. So it's going to be interesting to see. I really like Miami, but if they win those 2 games, I like their chances going forward. And in order for them to make the top 4, they're going to have to win the ACC championship game. So yeah, in order for Miami to make that top 4, they're going to have to just completely win out. Because as soon as they lose, the community's like, oh, Miami lost, they're done. And that's going to be it. Wisconsin, in order for them to make the top 4, they're going to have to do the same as Miami. Just completely win out, cannot lose a game at all. Just, like I said, they just have to win out, or else the committee's just going to boot them out like that. Because I'm not really sure. I mean, I know Penn State, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, Notre Dame, Bama, and Georgia. Those are the big teams in college football. And I know that Miami and Wisconsin really aren't on that level. So I feel like that's why they're getting disrespected by the committee right now. So they just need to show everyone that what they can do. They just got to win out, and if they do, then if both win out, then I don't see how. Meaning that they win out the regular games and then they win their respective conference title games, then they both should be in the top 4. So we're gonna see how that goes, and yeah, because if I'm sure it's gonna be Ohio State versus Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship. I don't think Wisconsin's gonna drop a game up until that point. I think they still have. They have Indiana coming up, then Iowa, Michigan, and that's a game I guess that you can think where that's if Wisconsin's going to drop a game to a team before the Big Ten championship, I think that it would be against Michigan. But I mean, I'm just wishful thinking right there. I don't really think that Wisconsin's going to really have too much trouble with them. And then they got Minnesota the last game of the season, so. Yeah, I really like Wisconsin going forward to win the rest of their games, and it's just going to come down to the Big Ten championship. And as far as Ohio State goes for that, in order to meet them there, they have Iowa, and they're going to win that one. Michigan State, really, I don't think that they're going to be able to handle Ohio State. Illinois is Ohio State's game after Michigan State, and then the last game of the season, of course, is Michigan versus Ohio State, and that's always that's going to be an intriguing game because I know that Ohio State right now is miles better than Michigan at this point, but as far as like rivalry games go and stuff like that, those are so tough to pick. You can't really be like too sure about them. I mean, of course, Ohio State, like I said, they're the better team. Michigan really has not played up to expectations or anything like that. They're not that good of a team so far this season. So I mean, but still, even with stats and all that stuff, you can't really pick be completely sure about what team is going to win in a rivalry game like that. But I think Ohio State will pull it out. So yeah, I like those two in the Big Ten Championship, and then the winner of the Big Ten Championship is going to end up in the playoff, I think, too. So we'll see how it all ends up. Oklahoma needs to win out in order for them to make it. As soon as they lose, they'll be out. And if Miami somehow manages to beat Virginia Tech, Notre Dame, and win out and win the ACC Championship, then I like their chances in the top 4, too. So I think that it's going to come down to Ohio State or Wisconsin for that 3rd or 4th spot, and then for one of those 2 spots, and then the last spot is just going to be up for grabs for whoever wants it and plays the best and wins out. So we'll see how that goes. So that's going to be it for college football right there. And then now I want to get into some soccer. We're going to talk some Champions League. And after we're done talking about the games from Tuesday, we're going to give some live score updates for the games going on right now, which is on Wednesday. And then we'll read off the standings and see where every team is at as of right now. So let's get into yesterday. Sporting Lisbon drew with Juventus 1-1. Olympiacos drew with Barcelona 0-0, I believe it was. Yeah, it was 0-0. Luis Suarez just hasn't played well at all so far this season. He's just, I don't know if it's because of Neymar being gone, but yeah, Luis Suarez just hasn't played well at all. Messi's been having to pick up the slack. And that's just what the best player in the world is going to have to do. Manchester United beat Benfica 2-0. Manchester United, their defense is really playing well so far this season. They don't give up many goals at all. So Manchester United, they're always going to be in it, and I'm sure they're going to advance out of their group. But like I said, we'll talk about standings at the end. FC Basel lost to CSK Moscow 2-1. Roma beat Chelsea 3-0, which was a very surprising game to me. I thought that this would be a close game like how it was last game. I believe Chelsea won 3-2 or they drew 3-3. I can't remember exactly how it was. But, yeah, Roma came out and scored in the first minute and then just outclassed Chelsea throughout the game. Atletico Madrid, they drew 1-1 with FK Qarabag. I believe that's how it's pronounced. It's really hard to pronounce these European team names. Yeah, so they drew 1-1. Atletico Madrid has just been constant disappointment so far this season. They're not the team that you really expect them to be year after year. PSG won. They beat Anderlecht 5-0. PSG is really looking like the early favorite for the to be Champions League winners. And Bayern Munich beat Celtic 2-1. And as for games going on right now, Liverpool is currently tied with NK Maribor at halftime 0-0. Tottenham is up against Real Madrid. They're winning 1-0. Dele Alli scored a goal in the 27th minute. And as I'm looking at it right now, both teams have been pretty even in the first half. They both have the same amount of shots. Madrid has one more shot on goal than Tottenham with 5. Tottenham has 4. Tottenham currently has 5 fouls in that game. Madrid only has 1, and then Madrid's actually taken 6 corner kicks in that game, and it's just Tottenham's defense has just been holding up. Toby Alderweireld actually came out with an injury, and they subbed in Moussa Sissoko, so it seems like he's been doing pretty well so far in the first half. Madrid currently leads in possession with 62%, and Hugo Lloris has had to make 5 saves, but Real Madrid's keeper has also had to make 3 saves so far, so it's been pretty back and forth. Madrid's always going to dominate the play possession, so it's just going to come down to how Tottenham do on the counter. Harry Kane is also playing. He came back from an injury. He missed the Manchester United game Saturday in the Premier League, but you almost think that maybe Tottenham saved him just for this game. So we'll see if he could put a goal up or if Tottenham can hold Madrid off. For the next game, Shakhtar Donetsk is winning 2-1. They're beating Feyenoord. Napoli and Manchester City, that's another game that I found really intriguing because both teams are really good in their respective leagues, and Manchester City is also a favorite for the Champions League final and also to win it. They've been playing lights out. Pep Guardiola finally has his players, so we're going to see how they end up. And this might be the first time in a while where we see an English team make it to the semis or even to the final. English teams usually haven't done too well in the Champions League, but it feels like the play is starting to shift. La Liga teams are starting to drop their play a little bit, and then English Premier League teams are starting to pick up their play, so we're going to see how that goes. Borussia Dortmund is winning 1-0. They're beating Apoel Nicosia 1-0. Dortmund has been very disappointing so far this season. Not really. Usually you expect them to challenge with teams like Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga and all that stuff, but they haven't looked so too good this season, and I actually think if they don't pick it up, then you could see Aubameyang, which is their star striker. You could see him leave after the season and go play for a better team. So we'll see. FC Porto is beating RB Leipzig 1-0. That's another interesting game because both teams, RB Leipzig is they're a young team and they're not really a big team in the Bundesliga, but they still managed to be in the top 4 and all that stuff. So they're a really interesting team. And Porto's always juggernaut in the Portuguese league. So we'll see how that goes. Sevilla is currently beating Spartak Moscow 1-0, and then Besiktas and AC Monaco, they drew 1-1 today. So yeah, that's how the scores are going right now. We'll see how they're all at halftime right now, so we'll see how they all finish. But as far as current standings are, Manchester United leads their group 12 points. FC Basel has 6, and then CSKA Moscow has 6 points also. So they're going to be fighting for that second spot. I expect Manchester United to win that group, and Benfica, it's not looking too good for them. After 4 games, they have 0 points and a -9 goal differential. So we'll see how that all goes. In Group B, which is one of the better groups in the Champions League, PSG is leading that one. They have 4 wins out of 4 games, 12 points plus 17 goal differential. Bayern Munich is currently with second with 9 points, 3 wins out of 4 games. Their only loss came to PSG. Celtic has 1 win out of 4 games. They have 3 points, and Anderlecht has 0 points. And that's pretty much how I expect that group to finish off, with PSG and Bayern advancing. As far as Group C goes, Roma has 8 points now that they came away with that 3-0 win Tuesday against Chelsea. Chelsea has 7 points. Atletico Madrid, who hasn't played all too well, has 3 points, and FC Quebec has 2 points. But that's also I expect the group to finish. I don't think Atletico they haven't been playing well at all this season, so I don't expect them to make it out of their group. They'll probably end up in the what's called Europa League, and there's a good chance that they could win that, but it's not really a tournament that they want to be playing in actually, because they're a big team in La Liga. So Group D, Barcelona leads that group 10 points. Juventus has 7. Sporting Lisbon has 4, and Olympiacos has 1. Again, I expect it to finish out that way. I mean, I don't expect Juventus to go really far though this Champions League season, but I do expect those teams to make it out of the group. Group E, Liverpool currently has 5 points, but like I said, they're playing in their game right now. All these teams that after Barcelona's group, all these teams that I'm going to name, they're currently playing in their game. So the standings will change after the games are over. So, but as of right now, currently, Liverpool has 5 points, Spartak Moscow has 5 points, Sevilla has 4, and NK Maribor has 1 point. In Group F, Manchester City is leading with 9 points. Shakhtar Donetsk, I don't know how to pronounce that loud. That's a tongue twister right there. They have 6 points. Napoli has 3, so they really need to pull out this win against Manchester City. They need to get a goal up. And Feyenoord has 0 points. So we're going to see how it goes. It's looking like Shakhtar is going to win their game against Feyenoord, and Napoli, they need a goal, and they need to win this game in order for them to keep up. So we'll see how it goes. Besiktas currently leads their group with 10 points. RB Leipzig has 4 points. FC Porto has 3 points. And Monaco has 2. So with Besiktas already having 10 points, I'm sure that they're going to lock up first in that group. So it's going to come down to Leipzig, Porto, and Monaco. They're both really close in points, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And lastly, in the Group H, Tottenham currently leads that group with 7 points. Madrid is tied with 7 points with them, but Tottenham has a tiebreaker. Dortmund and Apoel have 1 point, so I expect it to finish with Madrid and Tottenham coming out of the group. But I'm not sure how if Tottenham's going to finish first or Madrid is going to jump them and finish first. That's the only thing to really look for in that group. So yeah, those are the current standings, and that's going to be it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening. Once again, this is the GSMC Sports Podcast, and we'll talk to you next time.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.